is Anime, I'm Will, and I'm joined here by...
Lewis.
We're going to be talking about Fullmetal Alchemist.
Yes.
Now, first thing I want to say is Fullmetal Alchemist is an anime about scientists, but these scientists have the ability to use a sort of magic-like thing, although they make sure to say it's not magic. But
it's kind of like magic. It's like they say it's like magic, but it's not magic. It's science magic.
And that allows them to manipulate elements and things like that to give them special powers. They're in a German-like country called Mestris, which is currently ruled by a dictator in a sort of, I would say it's Second World War, like Second Reich, but Third Reich even, but sort of in a transitional period between the two. And this dictator is trying to create a transmutation circle, as the powers are created by, to take over, to sort of use the country as a method to take over God and become God himself. The first story focuses around two brothers, Ed Elric and Alphonse Elric, as they search for their bodies after they did forbidden transmutation, human transmutation, and attempted to bring their dead mother back to life.
So sad.
In the process, they lost their...
sad.
Ed lost his arm and leg,
And
Al
his brother.
lost his entire body. Overall, the series maintains a very, very dark theme.
Oh, it's,
and
it's insanely dark.
So full of emotion as we follow these two brothers as they go from place to place, both uncovering this plot and at the same time meeting other alchemists who basically have all had their own traumas. As far as series go, Fullmetal Alchemist as a series, I would definitely have to say has sort of the most believable characters I've ever met in anime, with sort of lovingly crafted backstories, personalities and everything. Particularly, I'd say the group around Roy Mustang.
Oh, I love them so much.
They were a group that all fought in a war in Ishval, which was a region of Amestris.
To the east of Amestris?
Yeah. It's just further past Resenbul, which is where Ed and Alphonse come from. And in this war, if you can call it a war, it was more Amestris just massacring the people. And they all were dramatically traumatized by this experience. Roy Mustang himself vowed that he would go further and change the country completely for the better, vowing to become the Führer himself. And he's sort of broken, I'd like to say.
Yeah, he's very much a conflicted man, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because he has the ideals of he wants to be this leader, but at the same time he's willing to do so much to it that I guess he does what he believes is right, and that's the good thing, but what he believes right may not necessarily always be the right thing to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. His best friend was a non-alchemist called Mace Hughes, who during this war he sort of became the optimistic one who's trying to keep everybody in the present, in the real world, and sort of keep them living, basically. He is later killed by...
And what I'd argue is one of the saddest deaths of the series.
And they then have the funeral. And
that funeral, that whole scene just killed me.
Yeah.
With his daughter there. And you see his daughter and his mother with the entire sort of military around him, and his daughter saying, "Why are they putting Daddy in the ground? Why, Mummy, do something. Why are they burying Daddy, please?" And she's crying, and you see everyone else is crying, and just talking about it now is making me want to cry again.
And then you have the line from Roy when they're in front of the grave, him and Risa, and he says it's a bad day for rain. She goes, "It's not raining," and then the camera pans and it's him crying. And you see him as sort of this stoic, emotionless man who then suddenly you see this side of him.
It's that point where the death of Hughes really breaks him and you see that he is human. And it's such an amazing character development.
Risa, as I mentioned just then, is another member of their squad who, like Roy, was very broken, and she saw the entire war from a sniper's perspective, and sort of she knew every shot she took would kill, and this led her to sort of sacrifice her own life to keep him safe, to make sure his ideals would carry on because he knew that she knew that she herself would not be able to make anything of herself in the situation.
Yeah.
On the flip side to this, there was another character shown at the funeral, which is Fury King Bradley. Now, with Fury King Bradley, I'd have to say I think he's the more interesting of the homunculus, which are
they're like these 7 kind of like subhumans that were created by the power of the this god figure called Father.
Yeah.
And they each sort of take on the resemblance of one of the 7 deadly sins. You have lust, greed, pride, wrath, sloth, envy, and which one of them is? Gluttony, that's it.
Yeah. And Fury King Bradley is pride.
Yeah.
And he is different to the rest of the homunculus in that he's the only human homunculus. He doesn't regenerate. He is created in a human's body and everything like that. And it's at this point you really are left unsure whether he is just sort of shoehorned into his role as a homunculus, and it's not something he actually wants to do, that he actually cares about his country.
And the thing is, he has his own family as well. And he loves them and cares for them. But I think it's that.
But he has a sort of obligation.
He has the obligation to his father.
Yeah. But I think that's all we have time for, and I would love to go into more detail about all the characters.
One day after anime, we will actually come back to all the anime we personally enjoy the most, and we'll do proper full-length videos on them. But for now, this is just like giving an overview so you have a good idea of what you can watch.
Yeah, and if you can watch it before that, and if you want to watch it, I would definitely recommend it. It will fulfill you in every way. Yes. Yeah, blow your mind. Cheers.